He says it's not ETs building this stuff, it's us. It's our history. He says it's our history. We don't know our own history. Very, very interesting thesis. Now, of course, there are probably ET bases there as well. We heard from Henry Deacon, Arthur Neumann, about the Mars base. That's occupied, or rather jointly occupied, by human military, or human military intelligence, whatever you want to call them. But there are other ETs there as well. There's life and people, people everywhere. But a lot of the stuff out there, Hoagland claims, actually is us from previous ages. We've been out there and we've left our ruins behind. I don't know whether it's true or not. It's a fascinating thesis, and Deagle is not, let me put this right, Deagle is not in disagreement about this. We do want to point people towards Bill Deagle's work. And a lot of people say that he's a fearmonger. And a lot of people say that David Icke is a fearmonger. And actually, I introduced David on Saturday by saying that he's one of the most positive, optimistic, courageous people that you could ever think of. And he says that the idea that this might all have a bad ending never really occurs to him. And Deagle is exactly the same. But he's not saying, and David Icke isn't saying, that we're not going to have a tough time. We may have a tough time, and some people may have to drop their bodies and pick up another one somewhere, but that's not the end of the game. And that doesn't make it all into a disaster movie. It makes for quite a lot of drama and quite a lot of change and quite a lot of interesting things going on. But in the biggest picture, after all this, there actually is the opportunity for the human race to emerge into what many, many psychics have seen as being, after all of this chaos, some kind of a golden age which will emerge. And one of the messages that I want to give here is that if this was all going to be a dreadful, terrible story, I wouldn't be here. You see, I wouldn't be here. I know that. I mean, this is like a person. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have come here in 1953 to do what I'm doing now. I'd have gone off to some other planet and made a good start. I mean, there are all kinds of wonderful places to be out there where you can really have a lot of fun doing a lot of different things. I'm here because there's a good chance that this game is going to result in a good outcome. In the meantime, it's fun, it's interesting, it's a learning experience, it's a training course for you and me and everyone else too. I'm really pleased that I volunteered for this, but I didn't volunteer for a dead end. And all the wonderful children who are coming in, who they're trying to control with Ritalin and all these drugs and all these, all the indigo children, they're coming in waves and waves. The cavalry is coming. There are little kids running around. The cavalry is here. We get letters from people. We get emails in Project Camelot. We get more and more letters from younger and younger people. People who are in their teens, people who are in their early 20s, and they have levels of awareness and information which they're holding in their understanding that I never had when I was that age. When I was 20, even when I was 30, I hadn't got a clue what was going on. I had no idea at all. I was trying to figure it all out. And these guys are really on the ball. They don't have, some of them can't spell very well, but that's not important. They're saying, we have so many people saying, I know I'm here for a reason. I want to find out what I'm here for. I understand all this information. Your information has helped to wake me up. Your information has helped me realize that I'm here. We get this from more and more people and younger people. And of course, we're working as part of a huge team. You're going to start getting these messages as well if you haven't already started to get them. And there are people working all over the world in different cultures, in different ways, and all of this is happening. It's a movement. It's a movement. And all of these young kids, they would not be here if this was a dead-end, fixed, rigged game. They'd have gone to another table on another planet. They'd be doing something else. They wouldn't be here. They're here because there's a good chance, because it's fun, because we're working together, because they can reconnect with people who they've got an agreement to reconnect with. Many of us have known each other before. This is why I'm sure that since you started doing what you're doing, you've been bumping into people who you've only met for 1 or 2 days, and you think, my God, I feel I've known you all my life. It happens all the time. And the reason for that is because they're not strangers, they're old friends. You had an agreement as part of the life plan to meet up and work together, because this is what you've done many times before. The reason why it's fun to work with people is because it was fun last time. So here we go again. You know, it's like a long series of movies where you get the same characters again faced with a different problem, and here we go, you know. And that really is the way that it is. And so that, for me, is one of the most important messages of hope that there is, that this whole cavalry wouldn't be investing themselves here if it was all hopeless. They're investing themselves here because there's something really valuable that could come out of this. I don't think anything's fixed. It's not fixed to have a good outcome, it's not fixed to have a bad outcome. But it's a fascinating game. And my message to anyone who's watching this, who feels that that what I'm saying is saying anything to them, is you are probably watching this video right now for a reason. Nothing happens by accident. If you find yourself thinking, what should I be doing? What should I be being? Even if you're, even if German is your language and you're fascinated by Ruth's book, then that's a good place to start. Whatever it is that you feel drawn to do at this moment, then that could be what it is that you're here to do. Be smart, be careful, check things out with people, be aware of all the tricks you possibly can do, but follow your instinct. If you spend all your time trying to think it out logically, you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to jump off the cliff. The angels will catch you because the angels are real.
Brilliant, that's excellent, thank you, Bill. I just want to go back to the question of, please tell us about who's actually running this planet. Is it the reptilians?
I forgot.
What's going on?
Okay, here we go. Who's running the planet? The Anunnaki are part of the picture. The Anunnaki are an interesting bunch of people, and there's a lot which I don't know about them. And these seem to be a good example of what I was talking about a little earlier in this conversation. That rather than saying, oh my God, these are people we've got to worship, or we've got to fight, or we've got to propitiate to, or we've got to appease, or we've got to negotiate with, actually maybe there are people who came here with a problem. And there is information from different sources, including some of my own information, which feels real, and I've heard this elsewhere, is that they may have lost their planet. And for a race to have lost their planet, because bad things happen out there, it's a violent universe. For any race of beings, any advanced race of beings that lose a planet, that's a tough problem to solve. Because it's like somebody losing their house in an earthquake and then wandering around wondering where